What?
Where's me tops?
Wherever you left them.
Did you see me flip-flops?
Here.
Make your next holiday fuss-free with an Avantcard personal loan. With personalised pricing that's made for you, at least there's one less thing to worry about. Find out more at avantcard.ie.
That me snorkel? Have you seen me snorkel?
Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Avantcard DAC trading as Avantcard is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Welcome into Sportsmemo's Betting Podcast, College Basketball Edition for Monday, January 29th, with our college basketball expert, Brent Crow. Brent, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing good, Drew. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good weekend. Enjoyable. And I know it was good for you, man. What are you on, a 6-0 college basketball run?
The 5% plays, top plays are 6-0. Swept the board last week. Overall in college basketball last week, I think I was 7-1. So, and the one loss was Saturday in a game that frustrated me to no end. But so it could have almost been an absolutely perfect week. But I'll take it nonetheless. We're on a streak. We've been waiting to get on one, and we're on one now. So we'll see how long it can continue.
Yeah, good stuff, Brent. He's been good, guys, and check it out at sportsmemo.com. His handicapper page, very transparent. Every handicapper on sportsmemo.com, you can see their results there in the lower right, last 20 picks. It's all up there. And, 6-0 in his top plays. Been on a hell of a run, so check it out for $9 Monday as well at Sportsmemo. All plays are discounted to just $9. That includes Brent's total of the day going tonight in college basketball. We're going to do every game on the board for tonight's card. There's not a big card in college basketball, and then a couple games on tomorrow's slate to try to get out and ahead of some of the moves and some of these teams. But Brent, let's start off top of the card here, 851-852, 7 p.m. Eastern tip. ACC matchup here, Duke traveling to South Bend to take on Notre Dame, 152 the total. Looks like 14.5 the Blue Devils laying on the road.
Yeah, obviously Duke, they're either number one or number two and have had a tremendous season. They got the point guard, Trey Jones, back, and they're back to full strength basically. So, this team obviously is loaded. Notre Dame, not so much. I mean, with Mike Bray, they're gonna play hard. They're gonna fight. They just don't have enough talent. They're 1-6 in ACC play, blown out by Virginia in their last game Saturday. Prior to that, they had been pretty competitive on the road against North Carolina. Only a 6-point loss, 4-point loss to NC State, 2-point road loss to Georgia Tech. And I think Notre Dame will hang around in this one. You're getting 14.5 or 15 at home. I've got to play on the total as well, but for right now, the side, I would lean a little bit to Notre Dame.
All right, Brent. And guys, check that out at sportsmemo.com. Just $9 for his total of the day. Duke, Notre Dame. We got 853-854 Baylor, Oklahoma in the Big 12. Brent, 139 the total. Looks like the Sooners laying 5.5 or 6 in Norman.
Yeah, and Baylor has been a surprise to me. I thought at the beginning of the season that they were way down, but Scott Drew's done a nice job. Heck, they've won 4 in a row, 3 in conference play. They beat Alabama on Saturday. And now they're on the road against an Oklahoma team that has been solid. They're coming off a easy win against Vanderbilt in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. But Oklahoma so far in conference play just 3-4. And I mean, they've had a tough schedule. Their four losses are to Kansas, Texas Tech, and Texas on the road, and a home loss to K-State. So you really can't fault them for any of those losses. But, the number here is 5.5, totals at 138. Both teams are pretty well known for their defense. Oklahoma's been very solid this year defensively. But, and Baylor has always been a low-scoring defensive team early in the season against Arizona and Oregon. I mean, there was 106 and 104 points scored in those 2 games. But all of a sudden in conference play, they've turned it around offensively. And they're the number 1 Big 12 offense in conference games, believe that or not. Baylor's the most efficient offense. So it's been quite a turnaround, and at the same time, their defense has gone down. They're only 8th in the conference in defense. So it's a completely different team in conference play, this Baylor team, than we've seen the last few years. Of course, they still dominate on the boards. They're number 1 in offensive rebounding in conference play. And I actually like this one over the total a little bit. It was 137, got as high as 140. Now you're looking at 138.5, 139. I would play it over a little bit.
All right, liking some points in that one. Guys, it is $9 Monday at sportsmemo.com. You can get Brent's play, any handicappers play, for just $9. We also have a special coupon code for this podcast, CrowHalf. That's CROWHALF. CrowHalf at checkout for his 7-day all-access pass. That will include Super Bowl props, Super Bowl pick, all of his college basketball for the week, which Brent's been great. So a great deal there, guys. His 7-day all-access for half off of the retail price at sportsmemo.com using the coupon code CrowHalf, 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 7-day all access for half off. We got 855-856 in the Big 12. TCU, Texas Tech. Brent, I got to tip my cap to you. You tipped me off on Texas Tech holding Arkansas. Give them a tough time offensively anyway. I was on it. I know you were on it for a big play. That game stayed under 130.5 the total tonight, and it looks like Texas Tech laying 4.5 or 5 at home.
Yeah, I mean, in Texas Tech, the first thing that I do when Texas Tech plays is look to bet it under the total. And, against Arkansas, it played out about like I expected. It was a little faster than a normal Texas Tech game, but still it got down to crunch time, and it was tough to get a bucket, and it worked out perfectly with Texas Tech coming away with a 3-point win. And now they're on their home court against TCU, and TCU had been a very high-scoring team, and they've sort of turned it around as far as, first of all, they played a lot better defense, and also they're not scoring as many points, and that's what happens when you lose Jalen Fisher and some other guys that have had some injuries for TCU, and then just plus the rigors of conference play and playing good defenses. And they've certainly been playing some good defenses lately, Kansas State, Texas, and then Florida, and now another one with Texas Tech. So I was hoping in this one, it got up to 132, 3, 4 at times. It's down to 130.5 or 131. So just a small lean here to the under with Texas Tech, but still, that's a team that plays really good defense. And if you watch them play, they're not that great on offense. They don't play very fast, so they're the perfect under team. But TCU can definitely put the ball in the hole. But like I said, their trend is also on the unders lately. 3 straight games have gone under the total, and that's what I'd look for this one to do as well.
Brent, we got one more game here, and then we'll hit tomorrow's card. A couple games, 857-858. I'm seeing an early tip here. Southern Utah, Northern Arizona, 150.5 the total. Northern Arizona laying 2 at home.
Yeah, this one gets an early start for some reason, but Big Sky Conference games for the most part are high scoring. Southern Utah is a team that likes to push the pace for sure. They're number one in Big Sky play in tempo. 74 possessions a game. They're coming off a loss to Northern Colorado, and they had a 4-game winning streak, and they're facing a Northern Arizona team that just doesn't have much firepower. I mean, that's basically their problem. They're not that fast, but they're really struggling to score. They've only won 5 games this year. 3 of them have been conference wins, but this one, totals crept up from 148 to 151.5, 150. There's all kind of numbers out there. There's a 152. There's 150.5. And I would lean a little bit to playing it over. Southern Utah definitely going to try to force the pace a little bit and playing on the road. I think that's probably if Northern Arizona is going to score some points, it's definitely going to be at home. And Southern Utah, not a great defensive team, but not as strong. I don't like this one as much as I do the one we just talked about.
All right, Brent. And guys, remember it's $9 Monday. We're going to get into Tuesday's games, though. Look-aheads here. Lines aren't out yet. We're still talking Monday morning about Tuesday's game. So quite a bit of look-ahead here, but still can get out in front of some of these moves. Brent, let's talk, a game, Wisconsin-Nebraska in the Big Ten, 627-628 on tomorrow's card. Seeing Nebraska, Ken Palm has it, Wisconsin 66, Nebraska 64. So that would put it 130 total with Wisconsin, the Badgers, minus 2-point favorite. Anything here overall betting Wisconsin, Nebraska? And if those are the numbers, which way would you look to bet it?
Actually, I think Ken Palm's got Nebraska by 2. So
Okay.
On their home court, that makes sense. But Nebraska's really fallen apart lately. They're just 2-5 since Big Ten play started again. They were 1-1 in the early games in December, and I've been really disappointed in Nebraska. They lost the road game to Rutgers. They came back, I thought, with a really nice spot against Ohio State Saturday, and lost that one straight up. So they're reeling 3-6 in conference play. They need a win desperately. Wisconsin, on the other hand, won 3 in a row. They're 6-3 in conference play, and Wisconsin games are going to be low possession games. They're, of course, defense first. They're ranked 9th in the country in defensive efficiency, and held with Northwestern to 46 in their last one. Didn't have any hangover after beating Michigan 3 games ago. They've won 2 straight since then. And based on, like I said, on current form, I think you have to look at Wisconsin here, but it is desperate times for Nebraska, no doubt about that, on their home court. We'll see if they can bounce back with a win. It's going to be tough, though, and they're going to have to play a lot better than they've played lately.
Okay, we got another big rivalry here in the Big Ten. Michigan, Ohio State. Ken Palm showing it. Michigan 67, Ohio State 57. So 10-point favorites here for Big Blue. You have any opinion, Michigan, Ohio State?
Yeah, I would definitely lean to Michigan here. And I mean, Ohio State, I've watched them play a few times, and at times their offense just bogs down. I mean, they look horrible offensively. They had a 5-game losing streak before beating Nebraska, the game we just talked about on Saturday. But their offense against this Michigan defense, which has just been tremendous all season long. I mean, they're number 2 in the country behind only Virginia. Michigan also in transition allows the fewest transition possessions, not points, but possessions, which means they're back on defense every time. Only 10% of opponents' offensive possessions end in transition. So, if you're going to score against Michigan, you got to do it in the half court, and that is definitely not Ohio State's strong suit. So I would definitely look for Michigan here. Of course, Michigan's won a lot of games this year. They're 19-1 in Big Ten play. They're 8-1. And there's been some close ones, but for the most part, they've been able to handle just about everybody by double digits, especially at home in conference play. Minnesota's the only team that they played in conference play that was not a double-digit win. So, like I said, I just don't think it's a good matchup for Ohio State with their offense.
Brent, I like that stat, the percentage of transition defensive buckets. That's a good one. You use that a lot in your handicapping?
It's something I just got access to, actually. So, I'm really starting to work it in. So far, it's worked. And, I mean, it really, when teams that do not allow transition buckets as opposed to teams that do, I mean, it makes a difference. I mean, everybody's got basically the same numbers, and that's something that not everybody has right now. So,
yeah, no, that's a good one. Definitely going to look into that. Let me throw one more at you in the SEC. I know you know these two teams. We didn't prepare for this one, but Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Looks like Ken Palm has Kentucky 74, Vanderbilt 65, so with a 139 total. This one in Nashville. For Vanderbilt's at home, so it's unique court, but Kentucky obviously the more talented team. Vanderbilt kind of in a free fall as far as straight up losses go. They did play Tennessee tough, took it to OT, but other than that, really haven't looked good in quite some time. You have any opinion here on the Wildcats and Commodores?
Yeah, it's a tough spot for Kentucky. I mean, they've already beaten Vanderbilt just 2 weeks ago. They had a 9-point win against the Commodores. They're coming off a win over Kansas. Now they're playing at Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt comes off the big loss to Oklahoma, as you mentioned. They did, however, play Tennessee tough. I mean, that was really a game they could have won very easily. I mean, they had every opportunity before losing in overtime, but it's a 7-game losing streak for Vandy. We'll see what happens here, but they played all zone against Kentucky in the first game, and there was only 56 possessions in that game. And I'm sure that, if you hold Kentucky to 56 points, you're going to play zone again in this one. I mean, I would think that would be the case. And, against Tennessee, their defense wasn't that great, but they played really their best offensive game of the season, no doubt in conference play against Tennessee. And, I think it just comes down to Kentucky's motivation. If Kentucky comes out ready to play, they're intense, it's going to be tough for Vanderbilt. But if they're a little relaxed, and they very well could be with the winning streak they're on. They beat Vanderbilt before. They're coming off the win over Kansas. I mean, this is, like I said, not a good spot for Kentucky. We'll see how motivated they are, and if they're not, it could be a close game.
But Brent, that sounds like handicapping gold for the totals. I mean, because Vanderbilt's a mostly man team, and if they played zone against Kentucky and had success, like you said, they're probably going to play it here. Would you look to bet this under?
Yeah, especially at 139. I mean, you look at Kentucky and Kansas, there was 134 points. I mean, really, Kentucky all of a sudden, early in the season, they were up and down the court, and, they tried to play in transition a lot. And then since SEC play started, they lose to Alabama on the road. Then they played A&M in a fast game, and then since then they've played mostly slow games. The only high-scoring game has been Auburn, and Auburn, of course, on their home court had a lot of firepower, which you don't see with Vanderbilt. I can't read Bryce Drew's mind, but like I said, you hold Kentucky to 56 points playing zone the entire game, you would think you would try it again. So that would definitely lead to looking at the under.
Man, great breakdowns, Brent. The Tuesday card as well, so look ahead to that. Guys, use the coupon code CrowHalf, CrowHalf, CrowHalf at checkout for half off his 7-day all-access get college basketball and his Super Bowl props pick. All of those at sportsmemo.com. Also, $9 Monday, so every play on the board discounted to just $9. Check that out. We got Brent up with a big play, Teddy up with a West Coast wipeout big play at sportsmemo.com. Tomorrow we'll be back with a Super Bowl betting podcast with Teddy Covers. Also look ahead with Rob Vino on Wednesday's college basketball card. Both of those podcasts will be posted tomorrow. Brent, anything else you want to throw out to the listeners before we shut this down?
Not that I can think of. Like I said, it's been a great week. We've had some. This is my favorite time of the year. It's been a while, but I remember going like 21-1 a few years ago in the weeks bridging January and February. So this is to me, it's the best time there is to bet college basketball.
All right, great time to be a sports bettor, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Check out Brent's play at sportsmemo.com for $9 Monday. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be talking tomorrow.
Lisa likes the window seat at night. The lights below that tell her she's nearly home. Then there's the lights she can't see. The runway lights we power to bring her planes safely into land. And because at Energia we also power all of Ireland's streetlights, Lisa's taxi home is that bit safer too. And no prizes for guessing who powers her house. Welcome home, Lisa. Energia, the power behind your power.
At last, Heineken 0.0, the new beer with great taste and zero alcohol, is here. So cheers to working lunches, CrossFit crunches, party nights you choose to drive, the weeknight meetups to watch the big match live. To all of these things we say, Heineken 0.0, now you can.